Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen stole my Walmart order today. After that, how I got a car dealership to give my friend a newer car. And after that, am I the jerk for going to my best friend's wedding instead of my wife's birthday party? Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get to steal anyone's Walmart order. Pfft, you probably don't even pick good groceries anyway. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Karen stole my Walmart order today. So since we don't like shopping, we've been enjoying the online ordering option at Walmart. What's not to like? You pick what you want, pay for it, they pick it and bag it, and you just roll in and pick it up. Today, however, this didn't go as smoothly as it has in the previous few years of using the service. As I said, I put in the order and selected a pickup time. Wife and I roll in and park in space number 4. Then I inform them that I'm in a blue vehicle in space number 4 with the app. Other cars were already there. Other cars roll in after we get there, and the wife and I are just chatting along with the news of the day and what the grandkids have gotten up to lately. Finally, someone knocks on our window and asks what the name is on the order. I say it's our last name. The associate frowns and says, "I'll be right back." Thinking that this wasn't all that unusual, wife and I go back to chatting. About a minute later, a manager comes out to us and asks us if we are sure of the order name. I pull out my phone and show them the app. However, the app is showing us that the order was already picked up. Turns out that the silver SUV in space number 3 was approached by the Walmart staff, asked if they were my last name, picking up their order, and the woman just waved towards the back and said, "Load it up, please." Walmart staff apologized and said they're going to repick the order as a priority and they'd be out as soon as possible. 30 minutes later, a certain silver SUV pulls back into the spot and the woman slips into Karen mode and starts demanding a manager. Manager comes out and they chat for a bit. Being the nosy people we are, we listened in. She's upset that they totally messed up her order. Manager says that she was asked if her name was my last name and she just waved for them to load the stuff. They assumed that they were us, an honest mistake on the part of the Walmart staff given the information they were given. Karen is now demanding that they give her her correct order. There are, however, two problems with this. First of all, since they didn't pick up as themselves, the order was returned to stock. And two, Karen didn't bring the incorrect stuff back. Arguments go back and forth for a bit, and while this is going on, they bring out our hastily repicked groceries and a $50 gift card by way of apology. Thus restocked, we decided to drive away, and we never found out what the final Karen versus management outcome was. Plot twist, what if they had the same last name? I've always said that your order number should have a license plate too. That way they can verify it's the right car they're putting the stuff into. How I got a car dealership to give my friend a newer car. Circa 2020 January, my friend makes a stupid decision and buys a brand new car that he can't afford. His insurance is like $400 a month. He makes like $10.25 an hour working as a shift supervisor at McDonald's. His car payment is like $795 a month. Now at $10.25 an hour, 30 hours a week, that's a weekly income of about $300 a week, or about $1,230 a month. So yeah. So my friend came to me for help because I used to sell cars and I know the industry pretty well. I go over his paperwork. The dealer did rip him off, but my friend is trying to find a way to get out of this mess. And ripping someone off isn't illegal. They did of course overcharge him for warranty. They gave him a higher APR. They had add-ons, etc. But none of that is illegal, and I know the only way I can get my friend out of this deal is if they did something illegal. So I look at his finance application that my friend signed. It correctly listed his income, which turned on a light bulb in my head. No bank is going to approve someone for a $795 car payment if they're only making $1,200 a month. It does not make mathematical sense to do that. So I start searching through his paperwork for the finance app the dealer submitted to the bank. Oftentimes, when you submit a finance application at a dealership, the dealership will take the hand-filled out application and reproduce it electronically. This is pretty normal. However, on the application the dealer submitted to the bank, the dealer said my friend was a GM of the McDonald's and made $70,000 a year. My friend had good credit, so it doesn't appear like the bank asked for proof of income. So I go to the dealership with my friend and tell the sales manager he's going to want to put me in touch with the GM because we're going to be unwinding my friend's deal and giving his trade-in back. The sales manager thought I was joking. The GM also thought I was joking. Then I demonstrated how his dealership finance department committed bank fraud. I showed the GM the finance app my friend filled out. I then showed the GM the finance app his dealership submitted to the bank and pointed at the income difference. My friend really made $14,000 a year. The dealership claimed my friend made $70,000 a year. That's bank fraud. That's a felony. Let's keep this simple, shall we? The GM sees his dealership as in a load of crap. The proof I'm presenting to him is rock solid. He knows it, I know it. We're all on the same page. He goes, "Okay, so what can I do to make this right?" I go, "Unwind the deal and give my friend his trade-in back." Unwinding the deal is basically the GM agreeing to cancel the deal and basically erasing the deal and pretending it never happened. GM tries to avoid that, but I remain firm and remind him we can easily take this documentation and cause some serious issues for him. He knows I'm right. My friend also needs a car to get to work the next day. The GM says he'll check into it when he comes back and tells me unfortunately they sold his trade-in already. I said, "That's fine. Unwind the deal and let's put my friend into something as good or slightly better than what he traded in for." So the GM goes, "So he'll buy a car similar to his trade-in?" I said, "No, you'll give him a car similar to his trade-in." The GM goes, "It doesn't work that way." I go, "It does when you commit bank fraud." GM is upset with me and I remind him, I'm being really nice and this situation can totally get really ugly. Like felony level charges ugly. Like losing your franchise ugly. So yeah, this is going to hurt, but it's going to hurt less my way. So the GM says all right, and he looks in his inventory and he tells me they have a 2007 Focus with 10,000 more miles. I tell him, no, the car you give my friend needs to be the same or better than what he traded in. The GM counters, "I'm giving him a free car." And I go, "No, you took his trade-in. You sold it. You made money on that sale. You also committed a felony in the process of selling him his new car. You are now correcting that mistake. This isn't a free car for my friend. This is you are correcting your mistake." GM insists that's what he's willing to do. I tell him if he can't do better, then we will go to a consumer protection attorney and have a conversation with them. My friend didn't want to go this route, but it was our plan B. We go to get up and the GM says, "Wait, give me a second." The GM goes, "I have an '08 Civic. It has 5,000 more miles, but it's a Civic and not a Focus. I unwind the deal on the new car and put your friend in the Civic at no extra cost." We agree. GM has the paper drawn up. The old loan on the new car is canceled. They take in the new car again. But because it's already titled, they'll have to sell it as used. That sucks for them. And they gave my friend a better car than the one he traded in. For people asking why we didn't get a lawyer involved from the start, we could have done that, but courts take a long time, and this was a faster way to fix the situation. Never buy a new car. If you really want something newish, get something that's a few years old with low mileage that you'll pay half the cost for. Am I the jerk for going to my best friend's wedding instead of my wife's birthday party? My wife is turning 30 and has planned a big birthday party with her friends and family. Unfortunately, my best friend has also got his wedding on the same day. I've picked my best friend's wedding as we're really close and I don't get along well with my wife's family. My wife is now furious with me and demanding that I do not go to the wedding, but I can't go back on the commitment I made to my best friend. So, am I the jerk for going to the wedding anyway? Extra info. The birthday has been planned for a few months now. Invites have been sent and the venue has been booked. I got the wedding invite this week. I guess if you want to be divorced, it's fine to go to the wedding. Especially when wife's birthday party was fixed weeks ago. OP got the invite to the friend's wedding only this week. You're the jerk. You're the jerk, simply because you accepted an invite that you received a week ago while she's been planning this for months. Usually I'd say the wedding is more important, but you already have a commitment for that day and decided it wouldn't be as fun for you, and that's messed up. The only compromise I can think of is attend the wedding and skip the reception for the party. How important of a friend can you be if you get the invitation only a few days in advance? And if that guy really would be your best friend, he'd know your wife's birthday is that same time, so you might have other plans, especially as it's a zeroing birthday. You're the jerk. You're the jerk. I can't go back on the commitment I made to my best friend. You've known about your wife's party for months. You were going. Why is it okay to renege on that commitment? And if you're really that close to your friend, why are you only just finding out the date of the wedding now? You're the jerk. Your partner's longer-term planning wins out, sorry to say. She can't have known your best friend was going to throw his wedding that same day, and you have to know this is a make or break kind of thing. Your wife is unlikely to forgive this easily. Not the jerk. Wow, as a married woman of 8 years, I can assure you that if my hubby's best friend had a wedding on the day of my birthday party, I would encourage my husband to go to it. You get a birthday party once a year. The wedding should definitely take priority over her birthday party. I can't even say that I'm surprised everyone here is calling you the jerk. If the roles were flipped, they would all be calling husband a man-child for making such a big deal over his birthday party. They'd be calling him controlling for not letting you go to this wedding and telling you to divorce him. But of course, because it's the wife acting this way, everyone here is making excuses for her as usual. So glad I met my husband back in 2010 before people lost the last bit of common sense they had left. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his wife? Please let us know. Unpopular opinion, but if you can't stand to be around your in-laws, you don't have to be around them. You can choose to suffer being around them to please your significant other, but you don't have to. Am I the jerk for not caring that my coworker is allergic to dogs? I work in a warehouse with about 26 other people. Been there for 5 years now. I have a Japanese Akita. These dogs shed a lot. One of my new coworkers is allergic to dogs. This has caused an issue. When they use the break room, they start sneezing a lot. I have pictures of my dog at my workstation, so they know that I have him. It's not a secret or anything. They went to the boss and said that they needed to be accommodated because of their medical condition. He came to me and asked if I could please do anything. So I started keeping a clean set of coveralls in my locker, and I put them on as soon as I get to work. Apparently, this was not good enough. So I started just staying out of the break room. Nope. If they came into my zone, they started sneezing. They told my boss that I should be forced to get rid of my dog because it was affecting their work. The thing is, I know that I'm not the only one with a dog. At least 3 of the guys I work with have dogs. I told my boss that I will never consider rehoming my dog, and they can just take some Benadryl or something. Now they're crying that they might have to quit because they can't work here. I just don't care, but they certainly do. They're saying that I'm a jerk for prioritizing my dog over their livelihood. Edit. My boss got me the extra coveralls and arranged for the extra washing as an accommodation. I volunteered to stay out of the break room. Take the dog's pictures down. Say he's gone now. Keep your dog. Your job should never be in a position to ask you to change your home life. What you do off the clock, who or what you have in your house is your own business, so long as it does not affect work performance or direct safety of others. But it's not your responsibility to cater your choice in having pets to someone with an allergy. What is this coworker going to do if they see a dog in the street, a service dog in a coffee shop? The world can't cater to them. They have to cater to their own issues, not the jerk, and take it up with HR. Also, I find it super suspect. This coworker is supposedly so allergic to dogs, they react even when OP changes into clean coveralls. Their coworker couldn't ride airplanes without having a reaction, even if there wasn't a dog on the flight. Also, if 3 other coworkers have dogs, then why is OP specifically getting singled out? I'm not saying the coworker is faking their allergy, but something's not adding up here. Railroad malicious compliance. For reference, I'm a U.S. Federal Railroad Administration certified conductor and engineer who used to work for a major railroad, Union Blank, ending my career in 2018. We weren't allowed to strike, so instead of striking, we could and often did utilize the 40,000+ rules that all contradict each other for some very sweet malicious compliance. Story time. John is a great guy, never calls off, been with the company over 20 years. He knows his job well and often will take the time to train newer switchmen, brakemen, or conductors. He's very personable and just a generally easy guy to talk with. He was also our union rep for a long time until his wife became ill, so he resigned from those duties. One day I heard a manager yelling at him because he was late to a scheduled train during what I would call a pretty major storm. This is the Pacific Northwest. Snow, hail, and rain coming down on very graded terrain. Manager tells him that when he gets to his destination, he's going to personally meet him there to counsel him. I hear John utter the words, "You'll be waiting a while." Now, to understand this piece of track, you have to understand it's very mountainous, and at a single point drops down to a single line of rail between 2 major intersections of track. Very busy, but due to the grade, only a single train can do it at once. This area is also very difficult to do maintenance on in good weather, since it requires essentially off-roading mountain roads with steep cliffs and areas that aren't otherwise easily manageable. Nevertheless, during this icy storm, John hops in his scheduled train. Train takes off. My engineer walks in from outside and had spoken with John beforehand. They were good friends, like Sunday barbecue with each other's families on the regular Friends. He tells me to put my paperwork down, that we aren't going to be going anywhere, kick my feet up, and enjoy getting paid for nothing all shift. A bit confused, he tells me to watch the line traffic monitor. Sure enough, John knew this choke point, set his train on it, blocking all transfers for most of the West Coast, at least the northern portion of the US, Portland, Seattle, and Canada, and stated that due to worsening weather, visibility, and safety, that he would not move the train until it was safe to do so. Hit his 12 on duty, then waited another 4 for a ride. I was sent home after 2 hours of waiting, but could monitor from a phone app and my laptop. I calculated his pay for all of this, and the deadhead he had back to our station, and it was close to a $1,000 day for him. None of us complained. We get paid regardless of the train status, and he was in fact following the company and the FRA's rules, which are very strict about safety. Edited to add, John passed away last year due to cancer, but that stretch of track is now referred to as John's Pass. His name obviously changed for the story. Scolded for closing a store I don't work at. This happened a couple weeks ago. Made a run to a quick party supply and craft store for a cake project I was working on. Place closes at 8. I got there at 7:45. Found my item within 10 minutes, paid, went out to my car. I'm sitting in my parking space still at 7:57, just reading the packaging of my purchase to double check something, when this other car pulls up beside me. I see this woman in her late 50s get out, and I can see her walk to the store entrance from my rearview mirror. The automatic doors don't open for her. I go back to reading my packaging and look up when I hear a woman's voice near my closed window. Something closed. Politely, I cracked my window down like a centimeter to actually hear her. She was ranting that they were closed, and I was like, oh yeah, they close at 8 now, I guess. She cut me off. It's not 8 yet. You're not supposed to be closed yet. It's 7:58. Me. I don't work there. She cut me off again. I don't care if it's 2 minutes or 2 seconds to 8. It is illegal to close early. She's kind of close to my car, so I don't want to just pull out and tap her with my car mirror and have her sue me or something, which is why I didn't leave yet. I firmly, a bit louder, repeat, I do not work there. Karen, with big, obnoxious, exaggerated arm gestures to the empty parking lot, using this loud, antagonistic sound. I don't see any other cars here. Insinuating I must be lying about being an employee. Pretty sure employee parking at that place is behind the building. She moved over a bit when she did that grand arm gesture, giving me room to comfortably pull away, so I started the car. As I rolled up the window, I said, I'm a customer, you banana. And I held up my receipt to the glass, then shifted in reverse. She was still yelling something when I left. And to be clear, there couldn't be any real reason for this lady to assume I worked there. It's mainly run by teenagers, and I'm in my late 30s, and I wasn't wearing any work-like attire or name tags. I was in loungy clothes. Employees wear bright, solid-colored shirts and not sweatpants. Am I the jerk for starting an argument because my boyfriend boarded a plane before me? My boyfriend, 26 male, and I, 24 female, traveled by plane to go to my parents' house for Thanksgiving. We checked in together and had different boarding groups. He was Group 1, since he's active duty military. I was Group 3, for being a platinum card holder on the airline. This is significant since both groups are considered priority boarding. We're both under the impression that boarding groups do not necessarily matter. We are seasoned travelers, very efficient when boarding planes, and the only thing that does matter is that we are on the plane before the main groups, which are the people who do not travel often and are generally slower when boarding planes. When the plane started boarding, they obviously called Group 1 first, the group for active duty military and unaccompanied minors, and my boyfriend gets up and boards without me. I was annoyed since Groups 1 and 2 are both super small, and Group 3, my group, usually gets called super fast, if not combined with Group 2. After my group gets called, literally less than 5 minutes later, and I get on the plane, I told him he could have waited for my group to get called, and we could have boarded together. He told me that it wasn't a big deal. I said it was since we were traveling together. He had never done that before. Why would he do it randomly now? And he didn't have a reason besides, it's for me. Why wouldn't I use that group? Even though my group is still considered priority boarding. We got into a mild argument about it on the plane, nothing huge since we were, well, on a plane. He thinks I'm being a jerk for starting an argument and being upset about him boarding before me, but I think it's justified since he had never done it before and he didn't say anything prior. This isn't a new thing where he just joined the military. He's been active duty for 8 years. We've traveled together multiple times. I think I've seen him use his military ID for a discount one time in the entire time I've known him. Edit 2. I accept that I was being a huge jerk and that I should have picked my battles and not started an argument over something so petty and small. I will be giving him a big apology this morning. Anyway, am I the jerk for being annoyed at him and starting an argument for boarding before me? You're the jerk. You really got upset about boyfriend boarding a few minutes before you? You say you're a seasoned traveler, so why are you so hot and bothered that he left your side for a few minutes? What's he gonna do? Go steal a Coke from the gallery before you get on the plane? Put on bunny slippers that you don't approve of? You seem to be trying to create a problem where there isn't one. Why would you do that? This post will probably make me unpopular, but really, as an adult, why are you starting a fight where there is none? Wow, talk about first world problems. Am I the jerk for canceling my plane ticket back home for Thanksgiving? I, 19 male, left the state for college back in August. 2 days before I had left, I had a friend over to eat with us. My parents decided right then was a great time to discuss bringing a foreign exchange student into our home. This was a girl who was 18 who currently was living in another family's home around 15 minutes from my old high school. She didn't have a car and thus felt bad that she was asking her host family for rides to school events, friends' houses, etc. The host family decided to put up a Facebook post saying that it was not extremely urgent, but that she would love a host family closer. Keep in mind that this is all being told to me for the first time while I'm in front of a friend. I bring up instantly that it feels like as soon as I'm going away for college, it feels like I'm being replaced. I ask where she will be sleeping, and they say something along the lines of, "Obviously in your bed." My parents both laugh at me and say that I'm just jealous my brother will have a girl in the house. It was an extremely weird atmosphere because my parents seemed to have decided before telling me, but had waited until the final days of my summer vacation to inform me. I went to bed with a weird feeling that was unwell, and when I eventually flew out, it was all I could think about. By the second week I was gone, and the girl had already moved in. My parents normally call me on the weekend to catch up, as I am a state away, and it's not something I normally think much of, but the call didn't come that weekend. I didn't actually hear from them other than through texts for another 2 weeks. Now we are on week 4 of classes, and my mother tells me it's time to buy a Thanksgiving ticket home. Before I've said anything, she tells me, "Remember, you have to sleep on the couch." I hung up the call. I would have given my bed to this chick, even though I haven't met her. I wouldn't kick her into the common space, especially because my bed is where she has been sleeping for a month now. Even so, it was the way that my mom said it, like I didn't know that, which got me upset. I decided in the end that they chose to have Thanksgiving with this girl over me, and that I have every right to spend my Thanksgiving with who I wish to as well. I will be back home over Christmas break when she has left. They chose a girl they hadn't met before, who was sad she lived 15 minutes away from school rather than 5. She wasn't even a new foreign exchange student. My parents are calling me childish for acting this way. So, am I the jerk? Absolutely not the jerk. Your parents are completely in the wrong here by allowing this girl, a stranger, to live in your room without consulting you, and then telling you that you'd have to sleep on the couch when you came home. OP, you deserve to spend Thanksgiving with people who care for you and respect you. Not the jerk. Your parents' behavior is, simply put, extremely unpleasant. The way they told you about the exchange student, clearly having made up their mind before that, only texting in the couch comment. Seems like you don't want to celebrate Thanksgiving with them. Well, that's up to you. Ever noticed that when people do not like decisions, they will call those decisions childish? Not the jerk. Now, I want to make something clear. They have every right to take in an exchange student, and that room is theirs to use. However, the way that they did it was crappy, and you're perfectly fine to have hurt feelings. The way that they've treated you is why they're the jerks. I've never understood families keeping rooms like shrines when kids have moved out. My kids will always have a safe place to stay with me, but that doesn't mean I'm keeping a room as a time capsule either. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or their parents? Please let us know.
Plot twist. What if the whole thing is a prank and the foreign exchange student doesn't even exist?
Karen was rude to the owner, so I fired her. I'm a manager at a small business. It's just me, the owner, and another person who is my employee. The owner usually handles the checks on a certain day. We still haven't set up direct deposit yet because they have limits with their banks. The day the checks were supposed to go out, the owner's father had to be rushed to the hospital, and it was so bad that we didn't think he was going to make it. This resulted in our checks being 2 days late. I understand that it was inexcusable and unprofessional. However, it was something out of the owner's hands. The employee, however, she was up in arms, angry, and calling the owner multiple times about her check while his father is almost gone. He answered her the first time, and then he told me to handle it, and I explained everything to her. However, she still kept calling the owner. I get that we all need money, but in my opinion, it's just tasteless to demand a man leave his dying father's side just so you can get your check on time. She was our opener on Monday, and she was late and not even in uniform. I told her that being late, especially when the store opens at 7 a.m. and she's the opener, is inexcusable, and she went on a very long and drawn-out rant about her check. I informed her that I don't have her check, and she will get it once the owner comes later that day, and my job is to ensure that she's doing her job, and coming late and not in our standard uniform is not our image. And she kept deflecting and demanding to speak to the owner, whose father is in his deathbed. I fired her for a few reasons, but the last nail in the coffin was her blatant disrespect for the owner and myself. I did not come to argue with her. However, she was ready to battle. I still feel guilty about it, but I honestly don't know what else I could have done. We did get her check as soon as the owner got there, but I didn't think she was a good fit for a few reasons and let her know that we won't be needing her anymore. So Reddit, did I do something wrong? Edit. I know that we have a very wonky payroll system and we're working on getting that fixed. It wasn't our intention to withhold her pay. We don't regret firing her because even before this incident, she was already on thin ice due to her tardiness, among other things. We are a small business and we try to do the best we can for each other and our employees. However, she has made demands and taken advantage of our willingness to be adaptable. I understand that a lot of you question why I didn't just pay her from the till. We are a cashless business, so we don't have money. Second question, why didn't I just pay her myself and wait for the company to reimburse me? I admit that thought crossed my mind, but I didn't know if it was possible to do that from a legal standpoint, or if I would be overstepping. Lastly, the most asked question is, how am I still defending the owner and myself? The answer is that I'm not. I know we should have paid her on time, and she has a right to be angry, but you can be angry and polite and professional at the same time, and the way she handled the situation, I just didn't think this was someone I would want to work with. It just wouldn't fit the environment we try to bring into the team. You're the jerk. An employer has an obligation, legal and moral, to pay their employees on time. Do you think her landlord cares why her rent is late? If the car loan people care why her payment is late? No. Her saying her boss's father is ill will carry zero weight when it comes to her financial obligations. You say the final nail was her blatant disrespect? You try to say not a good fit, but we both know that's just trying to make it seem more reasonable, don't we? How about your total disrespect of the employment contract? She works, you pay her. Why should she turn up on time, etc. if you aren't even paying her? You don't know what else you could have done? You could have just paid her on time as you were obliged to do. If the owner isn't able to make the checks, then you need a backup method. Pay her in cash or the like. His failure to properly set up his accounting systems doesn't absolve him of his legal obligations. Am I the jerk for making my friend's boyfriend cry after he insulted my career? First things first, I, 25 female, am a doctor, right now doing my residency in pediatrics. This is not the USA, English is not my first language, and I'm using a TA for privacy reasons. One of my best friends, almost a brother, Kevin, who's 26, started dating Olaf, who's 28, 3 years ago. In general, Olaf is a good guy, or at least that's what I have been told, because he has a peculiar character trait. He hates doctors with all of his soul. Kevin told me this hate started more or less than 9 years ago when Olaf lost his mother in a simple surgery due to a medical error. I honestly don't know more details, but since then, Olaf hates hospitals, doctors, etc. Luckily, he is healthy and hasn't needed any medical attention in recent years. The small health problems he has, he solves with homeopathic medicine and traditional cures. Because of this, Olaf is pretty cold towards me, and while I avoid talking about medical topics around him, if they come out, it always ends in him making mean comments. One of the most common being, "Western doctors are just licensed criminals." I want to believe I'm a very patient person, but yeah, imagine how fun this lockdown was with him around. And now, to the event in question. On Sunday, my friend group, including Olaf, was hanging in a cafe talking about life, when one of the girls, Sheila, got a text message. The next conversation ensued, more or less. Sheila: "Bad doctress, my aunt is a little confused with her formula. Here, can you tell me what these pills are?" Me: "Sure, this is for Olaf."
Puff, are you really asking her?
Sheila: Yeah, she is a doctor." Olaf:
You say that like it's something good.
Me: "Sorry?" Kevin: "Babe, you should not." Olaf:
Why not? They are useless. People will be healthier without them and their poisons. Look at me. I'm perfectly fine and haven't seen one in a decade. It's not my fault she chose to waste her life by becoming a doctor.
I blew up. I will not even try to transcript all the things I said because most were insults, but I do remember the last part, which was, word by word, "I'm sorry your mom passed, but that's not my fault, nor the fault of all the doctors in the world. And I am sure that if she had been in the care of the same type of imbecile that you are, she would not be more alive today." I was red, angry, and it was obvious most of the patrons at the place heard me. Olaf was dumbfounded, tears in his eyes. He suddenly got up and ran away, Kevin following behind. A waiter kindly asked the rest of us to pay and leave. I haven't heard from Kevin since. He's leaving all my messages on scene. My friends say they understand that I was mad, but I know his reason and that I went too far by striking that chord. Honestly, I don't feel remorseful, but there is still anger in me, so not the most impartial judge. What do you guys think? Not the jerk. Olaf has formed an opinion that all doctors are licensed criminals because of an unfortunate and fatal mistake that was made. He instigates arguments because you're a doctor, and he's extremely disrespectful. People have a limit, he keeps testing yours. You're human, and you finally snapped back. If he doesn't like it, too bad.
Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.